you know, which is very out of focus, especially for Pig. Absolute belief in Runt that makes him the character that he is. This absolute conviction in that he has for their relationship, and that he cannot, you know, conceive of existing on his own or existing in a world, you know, that does not conform to his and her world, that doesn't think like they do. And she has this facility to, you know, to see past him. I mean, you could see, like, she look over his shoulder, I'd imagine, you know, whereas he would be just like blinkered on her, and that's what he can't comprehend and can't see, that they'll move off and live in this sort of Pig and Runt utopia. Like, he can't understand why that can't happen, you know. Elaine, I think anyone that's seen Elaine on screen will kind of can tell, you know, just through her face and her eyes, she's brilliant at evoking an emotion, and I think she captures the innocence and that Runt has, and the love that Runt has for him, you know, that she can't help loving him all the time when he goes through this mad journey of his, you know, and she does that in a totally convincing way, and she's just so, you know, lovely.
I think the thing about it is it's a really, really delicate balance, which I've always been trying to get in the film, like between all these different things, like between a real world and a fantasy world that they've created, and then between like absolute like obsession and love, and then absolute energy and chaos as well. So it's just trying to balance those two characters all the time, and they kind of go up and down throughout the film, and then they kind of get back in sync, and, you know, kind of like Siamese twins in a way. She has a little bit of Pig in her, and he has a little bit of Runt as well, you know. But I think the main thing is that he, at the end of the day, she's the stronger one, because he doesn't really see himself as being a separate entity to her at all. I think there's only certain places in the script where it does where it goes slightly surreal and stuff. But I guess we've just tried always to let the content tell us the style of how it's going to be shot. So it's not like the style is a separate thing to the actual content, you know. Like, for example, in the disco, like, obviously, you know, you just take the energy of that, which is kind of like Pig's character, and kind of just run with it. And, you know, if things go out of focus and out of shot in a way, that's okay, because that's kind of him, you know. Whereas Runt is kind of, her character is more like the beach scenes, which are very calm and kind of still life almost. When I read it first, I did think it was really fresh and original. And, you know, it's not about drugs, even though the two characters you'd think are on every kind of drug imaginable. And it's not about the IRA, and it's not about sweeping landscapes of Ireland, and it's not depressing. And so I hope it is something new.
The kind of amazing thing about Pig and Runt is that they're twins, except that they're not siblings. They're not brother and sister. They're kind of born at the same moment, on the same day, same hospital, clock each other through their cots in the infant ward, and live next door to each other. And so they create their own kind of private world, absolutely cut off from other people. And the film is really the story about how that world changes, you know, as they reach their 17th birthday. It's a world where it's just about the two of them. It's absolutely about nothing else and nobody else, and about their friendship and about their love for each other. And also they have a kind of a particular language, which is kind of based on a kind of a strange baby talk, a kind of a strange baby speak with a kind of a Cork influence, a Cork inflection. And it's a very kind of secure and beautiful and warm world for them, and one that's very, very exclusive. There's the style of the kind of normal, boring, mundane kind of world that they inhabit. And then there's their own kind of particular kind of private, intimate, exclusive world. And in a way, I suppose the film tells the story of how that world begins to change. So the film itself has a very filmic structure. It has a kind of a strong narrative that runs throughout. And I suppose the kind of the dynamic within it is how their world, their own private world, sort of bounces off or is in conflict with the real world and reality and all of those things. And obviously that totally informs the style of the film. It's a very unusual